At the bottom of your screen, there is a Q&A. You can post questions there. There's basically what we're going to do is we have State Representative Maureen Madden with us, and we have Dulce Ritter with us, who is also
Candidate.
Position of the 115th District Representative. So we will start off. What will happen is we're going to end this at 8 o'clock. We want everybody at least to be able to answer or ask a question. When the first round comes, Maureen, when I ask the question, we'll give the representative the first go at it. It'll be a 2-minute answer. When she's done, then Dulce will go. The next question, Dulce will go first, then Maureen, back and forth until we're ending. I am now going to put this live on our APCP official Facebook. So it should be a live stream as well. Let me try one more time. Okay, so let's go here with the questions. The other thing is, any question that is directed to either panelist is not going to be asked. So if something's directed towards Representative Madden, it needs to be directed towards Ms. Ritter as well. Likewise, if it's directed towards Ms. Ritter, it has to be directed towards Representative Madden. Okay, I think that's fair enough. All right, Representative Madden, here's the first question. How long will it take to complete 611? And why does Monroe County pay one of the highest in taxes? 2 minutes, go.
Thank you for the question. So it's going to take a little while longer. It was supposed to be done by October of this year, but obviously COVID slowed some things down. And it's not merely a paving job on 611. They're laying gas lines down. They're laying sewer lines down so that when it's finally paved, it will be complete and they won't ever have to dig it up to reinstall anything. So that's why it's taking a little while longer. But it does seem like it's been in construction for quite some time. Why does Monroe County have one of the highest taxes? Well, taxes and school funding go hand in hand. We have one of the highest taxes because we are one of the 185 underfunded school districts out of 500 school districts. We are funded between approximately 30 and 32%. If we were funded at 50%, our taxes would go down 20%. And if the House and the Senate would pass my bill, we would realize another 50%. So if those things were in place, then we would see approximately a 75 to 80% property tax reduction. And that's the short answer.
Okay, thank you. Dulce, would you like to add? Would you like to share anything? It was how long will it take to complete 611, and why does Monroe County pay one of the highest in taxes?
Well, Maureen already took care of the 611 question. Now, the reason why we pay higher school taxes, I'm assuming that's what you're referring to, is because of the school funding formula. which Maureen stated. But the reason is also that this formula has been in place for years, and every politician that's ran before me has made a promise to have it changed or have it implemented. We have a funding formula that's not being implemented, and it's not being implemented because the districts that are getting overfunded don't want to give up that money. And one of the reasons I'm running is to make sure that that funding formula gets implemented and we reduce school taxes, because not only is this unfair and a robbery to our children, this is also a very racist funding formula that benefits mostly white districts and takes away from the minority districts and for the poor districts of our state.
Okay. Just giving everybody a more direction. Okay, I'm going to ask the next question. Some questions were shared with me via email. Dulce, you'll start with this one. Do you support the Workplace Freedom Act bill? It says, which makes it easier for labor unions to form and to collectively bargain for better working conditions.
I'm not familiar with the bill. I have not read it completely. I am familiar with the idea of the bill. I think that the state of Pennsylvania has their systems already. I think this is a very unlikely bill to pass. I'm for unions, believe it or not. My husband is a proud union man. He is with Local 94 in New York City. So unions are very beneficial. But in the last couple of years, I've had many people who are in teachers unions and in other unions that are not very happy with the way that the unions work. So I will have to get more informed on that particular bill to give you a more definite answer.
Okay, thank you. Maureen, would you like me to repeat?
No, I'm very familiar with the bill.
Okay.
I would just like to make a quick correction on something that Dulce said before. We do have a funding formula in place. The problem with it is only a small percentage of the new money gets applied to all the school districts. So the equitable funding formula is not equitable. That is why I support Representative Chris Rabb from Philadelphia's bill to apply all the new money to all of the school districts, and then we would be funded equitably quicker. The Workplace Freedom Act. The Workplace Freedom Act is actually my bill, so thank you to whoever asked that question. The recent Supreme Court decision, Janus versus AFSCME, was a huge blow to unions. It changed the way unions paid their dues, union members paid their dues. It set aside 40 years of precedent, which allowed union members to have their dues automatically deducted. That doesn't happen anymore. With my bill, the Workplace Freedom Act, it would shorten the procedure for joining a union. If members wanted to join a union, they would just fill out a simple card check. And when 50% of the members filled out that card check, you would become a union. It would do away with the secret ballot. It would do away with the intimidation of trying to get to employees and telling them they don't want to be part of the union. Right now, since Janus versus AFSCME, we are seeing a 65% approval rating for unions in general, one of the highest it's been since the 70s. And as a former union member, as a professor from ESU and an ABSCUF member, I enjoy the support and the endorsement of every union, from the AFL-CIO to PSEA to ABSCUF to UFCW to the Teamsters, at least 10 unions.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Representative. Okay. Oops. We hit our time. Okay. Next question, Representative Madden, you'll start with this one. Do you feel the state and federal government have done enough to protect the lives and livelihoods of its residents during the past 8 months? And also, what changes, if you would make changes, would you make?
Sure. Well, I think with absent of any real federal response, I think Governor Wolf and Dr. Levine have done a great job of keeping us safe. when the COVID-19 virus started spreading rapidly, Governor Wolf and Secretary Levine put together a plan to prioritize the health and the lives of Pennsylvanians. In late September, Pennsylvania ranked near the bottom in the US in its daily number of cases and had a 6-month supply of PPE. And while the Republicans were smearing Governor Wolf, a University of Pittsburgh study by Mark Roberts said that if the governor had not developed the plan that he did with Dr. Levine, we would have seen double the number of cases. And let me just say that 210,000 lives have been lost. 8,000 of them have been Pennsylvania lives. One of them is my stepmother who died on May 5th. I am always going to prioritize the health and the lives of Pennsylvanians over forcing people back to work. There is $1 billion in federal CARES money sitting in the legislature right now that could be sent down, appropriated to our small businesses, our people in need, the people who need this money. And instead, the Republican majority spends all of its time trying to usurp the governor's authority and undo everything that he's done. And now we can't even go back to session because another one of the Republican members of the House has tested positive. If we need any more evidence that this virus is a super spreader, we don't have to look any further than the President of the United States and the super spreader event he had in the Rose Garden, where 150 people were in attendance, and now we have upwards of 35 people infected.
Thank you, Representative Madden. Appreciate that. Ms. Ritter?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, I can. Do you feel the state and federal government have done enough to protect the lives and livelihoods of its residents during the past 8 months? If anything, what would you change or keep the same?
I think that the citizens of our community have done a lot to keep us safe. I feel everybody's doing their part. We are wearing our mask. We're sanitizing, and it's you that are doing it. It's not the governor, it's not the secretary, it's you. You're taking personal responsibility for your life. You don't want to get COVID. So you're wearing your mask, you're sanitizing, I know I am. And it's very difficult to shut down a whole state until we find a vaccine and have our businesses shut down and lose jobs for our community because of this COVID. Now is the time that we have to learn to cope with this COVID because the science is there. The science is there, and now we should follow the science. And yes, there have been 210,000 lives that have been lost to COVID, unfortunately. But the CDC said that 6% of those lives were deaths of COVID alone. 94% were underlying conditions. We have to protect our elderly. Our elderly, the science says, are at risk. People with underlying conditions are at risk. Those are the things that we need to follow. That's what I would change. I would protect our elderly who are at risk and anyone who is at risk. Everybody else, we need to go back to work. We need to open our businesses and we need to be safe. We need to follow the guidelines so that we are safe and we keep each other safe. And I know that we can do it because our businesses here have been doing it with the limited amount of capacity that they have. We have over 500,000 people visiting the Poconos, yet we still have those low numbers. So I know that it can be done.
All right, that's time on that one. Okay, let's see here. I got another question. Somebody sent in. Ms. Ritter, we're going to start with you on this one. What is your plan for dealing with the growing mental health crisis in PA and specifically the lack of funds for services in Monroe County?
Well, I'm going to fight tooth and nail because of that, because I actually have my family members suffering from mental health issues right now due to COVID and the strain that this has taken over everybody's lives. I have to say that the the crisis that is upon us of mental health issues that are coming our way, most people have no idea, because these children that are being kept inside right now, these are things that we're going to have to be dealing with years from now. So our mental health issues are very important to me, and I will fight in Harrisburg to try and get as much funding as we can to bring it back to our community.
Okay, thank you. Representative Madden, would you like me to repeat?
No, I understand the question. Thanks, Jay. So we need to appropriate more money for mental health services in our budget. We need to look at mental health as an illness and not a crime. When I first got elected, I visited the Monroe County Correctional Facility, where I actually used to volunteer teach when I was a professor at East Stroudsburg University. And I was horrified to find out that they had cut off half of the gym because they were housing mentally ill patients there while they were waiting for hospital beds. There are over 10,000 people currently on emergency status waiting for hospital beds. So obviously we need to get our priorities straight in the Republican majority and appropriate more money. What I've been able to do as state representative was secure funding for the drug and alcohol rehab that's in Mount Pocono that now works hand in hand with Kids Peace. So they deal with mental illness and they deal with drug rehabilitation as one thing. You see a drug counselor, you see a psychiatrist, your children get counseling. If you're a grandparent raising grandchildren, you're able to get counseling with your children and your grandchildren as one family unit. We need to implement more programs like this throughout the state so we remove the stigma from mental illness and we treat it as an illness and as a disease and not as a crime. And the other thing we have to address is all of the mentally ill people who are homeless.
Okay, is that it?
I'm sure that's pretty close to my 2 minutes. I could go on the topic, but I'll stop there.
Yeah, you were close, yeah. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Representative Madden, you'll start with this one. How will you bring better paying jobs into our area?
So it goes back to better wages. Pennsylvania still has a $7.25 an hour wage. If we would raise the wage to $15 an hour, and let me just say, according to the Department of Labor, if we paid people according to their productivity, we would be paying wages of between $22 and $24 an hour. So we need to raise the wage, and that will the jobs that we have already will be paying better, and it will attract new business because people coming here will be businesses that know the wage that we're paying. The other thing is to strengthen our unions. As we know, unions built the middle class, right? As unions organized, they fought for wages, they fought for healthcare. It elevated our middle class living. So we raise the wage, we attract businesses that are willing to pay that wage. We can have a gazillion water parks, but if they're paying between $9, $10, or $12 an hour, people have to work 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs to make ends meet. And that is not a middle class life. And that is not how a family can be raised. And it's not how a family can stay together.
Hey, thank you, Representative. Dulce, would you like me to repeat?
Yes, please.
Hey, do you support raising the minimum wage, considering all states around us have a higher minimum wage?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because if we have to start paying $15 an hour, if the business owners that have businesses here have to start paying $15 an hour, they will just leave. They will leave and they would take their jobs with them. So it's about creating more jobs, creating more opportunity for the people here, okay? And how do we do that? We try and get in manufacturing. We try and train our children in jobs that they can do. I personally sent my kids to college, and I wish I would have just sent them to a trade school because they would have done a lot better. We need to have business starters. We need to encourage our children to open their own businesses. And we need to start attracting people and major businesses with tax incentives. But how are we going to raise the minimum wage and risk losing those jobs? They can move somewhere else. Another thing is, the reason people have to get a 2 or 3 jobs to live a decent life is because the school taxes are so high. Think about that. You know, all those expenses that you have to pay extra for.
Okay, that's time. It's time. Thank you, Dulce. Move on to the next question. Ms. Ritter, you'll start this one. What percentage of your time will be divided between this role and your other jobs?
When I become state rep, it's going to be 100%. I will keep my real estate license, but just to keep it in escrow, not to practice, because I don't think that you can do 2 things at once. For example, now that I'm running, I've substantially stopped my work, which this year was a great year to be in real estate. But I've only done family and friends houses because I'm committed to this and seeing this through to November 3rd.
Okay. Representative Madden?
I have no intentions of quitting the job that I have right now.
Okay.
I expect to get reelected to a 3rd term and continue to work as hard as I have for the past 2 terms.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next question. Why are certain stores Representative Madden, you'll start on this one. Why are certain stores mandated for customers to enter with masks and others aren't? They give an example. Walmart is a good example for customers of wearing masks. White stores are not. I asked why and was told that this is up to the governor's guidelines. Would either one of you encourage these large stores to have customers only enter with a mask?
Sure. So the governor did not mandate masks. He strongly recommended them. In order for something to be mandated, it would have to be enshrined in law, and it's not enshrined in law. These are, as Dulce said before, it is incumbent upon the people to wear masks and to protect themselves and to protect other people. So what we've seen is in instances where, and I witnessed this, somebody in Target push past the security person when they asked them to wear a mask and go in the store. And in California, a Target employee had their arm broken when they insisted that a customer put on their mask. So we are hoping that everybody will do the right thing, but none of these recommendations by the governor are enshrined in law. They are recommendations. They are things that we do as human beings to protect each other and to protect ourselves from spreading this deadly novel coronavirus.
Okay. Thank you, thank you, Representative. Ms. Ritter, let me restate the question. Why are certain stores mandated for customers to enter with masks and others aren't? Walmart is a good example for customers of wearing masks. White stores are not. I asked why and was told that it was up to the governor's guidelines. Would you encourage these large stores to have customers only enter with a mask?
Well, like Maureen said, it's not a law. Okay, it's left to the individual to be considerate of your fellow Pennsylvanian and their health. You can't make people do something they don't want to do. Now, I strongly encourage everyone to wear a mask and to stay away from people who are not wearing a mask. If you're family, then that makes perfect sense. But according to Dr. Levine's guidelines, you can ask people to wear a mask and you cannot ask them why they're not wearing a mask. And they don't have to provide you with any proof of a medical condition why they're not wearing the mask. So what I would say to everyone is just to be kind and be considerate of each other. Wear your mask. If you are someone who cannot wear a mask because of a medical condition, don't be afraid. You just let people know that you have a medical condition. You don't have to say what it is. And for those people who sees someone that's not wearing a mask, think about that. That may be a person that has a medical condition. Many people who suffer from PTSD cannot wear a mask. They feel like they're suffocating. So think about that and stay away from that person 6 feet or more, because COVID is real. It is contagious. But it still has a very high survival rate, which is 97%, but nobody wants to get sick. Nobody even wants to get a cold. So wear your mask and stay away from the people who are not wearing them, and try not to be combative. Just be respectful and be considerate.
Thank you, Ms. Ritter. Okay. All right, the next question, Ms. Ritter, you'll start this one. Do you support further investment in clean and renewable energy sources?
I would have to see the program with all these programs that were mentioned in the Green New Deal and those type of issues. I have to see the type of program, specific program that it is. Now, as far as our environment here in the Poconos, I fully support our maintaining our environment. I love the Poconos. I love the nature. It's like a painting right now in the fall. It's absolutely beautiful. I love our clean water. We want to keep it the way that it is. And one of the things I want to do when I get to Harrisburg and locally is have stricter laws in regards to dumping trash in our community. We have too many people. We love our people to come and visit us. Please come visit, spend money, but don't trash the place. Don't trash the place. I don't think that our fines are strong enough. I don't think they're being enforced. I want cameras in every public park, in the parking lot, to see who's leaving their trash, and we need to track them down, and they need to pay. And they need to pay high fines for trashing our place or leaving water bottles and straws in our streams. It just needs to stop.
Okay, thank you. Representative Madden, would you like me to repeat?
No, not necessary. Thank you. So I have an A rating with the environmental groups, Penn Environment. I am a member of the Pocono Heritage Land Trust. I am a member of Penn Environment. I am also a member of the Broadhead Watershed Association. And last year I was honored with the John C. Riley Friend of the Watershed Award. The only politician, legislator who has ever been given that award. I am a firm supporter of renewable. I think we ought to be teaching children in technical schools the technology behind solar panels. We invented the technology, and yet we import 60% of our solar panels from China. I'm also thrilled that Governor Wolf made an executive decision and reinstated us in the Paris Climate Accord. And I voted against the Reggie bill, which the Republicans sponsored to try to take us out of the climate accord. And luckily, the governor vetoed it, and the Republicans were not able to override his veto. I have supported numerous pieces of legislation to improve the environment and to lower our carbon, which is what Reggie does. And I would just like to say that NASA did a study and said that within the first 6 months of this pandemic, we have seen a significant decrease in carbon emissions into the air by the lack of cars on the road and the lack of planes in the sky. So if we could just cut carbon emissions, and we could make a big impact on our environment. And this is the only planet that we have, and we are dangerously close to polluting it and melting icebergs beyond repair. And so it is an existential threat, and it's something we have to address immediately. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Okie dokie, let's go to the next question. Representative, you will start this one. Would you vote to eliminate property taxes completely? And if so, how would you ensure adequate funding for schools?
I would never vote to eliminate property taxes completely. There is not a state in the union that does it. It doesn't work. Property taxes are the most reliable source for funding education. What I do support is a reduction of property taxes by implementing my bill, which had it been brought to the House and the Senate for a vote, it would have reduced people's property taxes by 50%. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this forum, that if we would equitably fund schools by passing Representative Chris Rabb's 100% funding bill, the people in Monroe County could see between a 75 and 80% property tax reduction. And it's more important than ever because we've just gone through a countywide reassessment after 30 years. And so some people's taxes have gone up and some people's taxes have gone down. And unfortunately, our most vulnerable population, our seniors, those who are trying to live on a $7.25 or a $9 or $10 an hour wage, are those that are being hurt. And let me just end by saying this. The Republicans have had control of the House and the Senate for 10 years. And from 2010 to 2014, they could have gotten property tax elimination done without the help of any Democrats, and they didn't do it. Rosemary Brown, Jack Rader, Mario Scavello have been in office in excess of 5 years. They have never gotten it done. It will never get done. There will never be property tax elimination. Read my lips. No property tax elimination, not ever. Reduction, absolutely, it needs to happen. But it doesn't happen because we are only one of a few counties that suffers from high property taxes. So there's little motivation for the legislature as a whole to address this because it only affects a few counties throughout the Commonwealth.
Thank you, Representative. I apologize if you hear the ice cream man. I think he follows me. Ms. Ritter, would you vote to eliminate property taxes completely? And if so, how would you ensure adequate funding for schools?
Absolutely, I would. And but first, we have to take care of a few things. The funding formula is one, and I think what we need to do with the taxes, and as many of you know, there was a bill in 2014 which addressed this situation. The votes were there to pass elimination. We didn't pass it by one vote, and some of the people were encouraged to stay home and not go vote that day in the Senate. And it was Governor Wolf's lieutenant governor who broke the tie and decided that we shouldn't have tax elimination, therefore putting our elderly, our veterans, at risk of losing their homes. As a real estate agent, I've seen this firsthand, sitting across the table from people who are losing their houses because they can't afford the taxes. Okay, now the elimination can be done, and it can be done safe, where the schools get dollar for dollar what they're getting now. But before that can be done, the distribution and the funding formula has to be in place, or else we'll still be in this situation of being underfunded. And I don't believe that my opponent has the skills, the negotiating skills to get this done. If you're going to try and get this done, you have to be willing to reach across the aisle and talk about the priority, which is you, the people, you, the constituents of our community, you who are being homeless because of the property tax issue. You have to be able to sit down with people you don't like, with people who are from a different party, and try and negotiate, bring your case to them. Listen, my people are suffering. These are how many people have lost their homes within the last year. Please help us, you in your county where you're mostly rich.
It's time.
Help us here in the poor areas. You have to be willing to talk to people and negotiate.
That's time. I don't mean to cut you off, but I don't mean to cut either one of you off. Okay, next question. We're going to start with Ms. Ritter. Why do individuals who don't have any children in school have to pay school tax? Shouldn't this be thought of?
Well, like I said, I don't think we should be paying any school tax or very, very low school taxes because schools can be funded. If we had that bill passed, that would have increased the income tax of 1% and the sales tax of 1% point. I forgot the 0.3 or something, but think about this. Think just about the sales tax. Okay, we have a very low sales tax here. We have thousands of people who come from New York and New Jersey. Sales tax. So it wouldn't be just the individual homeowner paying the taxes. It would be everyone who buys something here in Pennsylvania, and anyone who has a service here in Pennsylvania that will be paying the school taxes. That burden wouldn't be alone on the shoulders of the property owners. So there's plenty of opportunities if we put our heads together and come up with a plan that will work for everyone so that it will be a win-win. You have to go in and try and negotiate these things as a win-win, and it can't be done. It's just that I feel that people are very party line in Harrisburg right now, and we need people that are going to go in with a bipartisan attitude. The people that are the most important are you, the people, what you are going through. That's what should be debated in Harrisburg. Not these ideas that are not affecting us directly. Property tax reform and property tax elimination can be done if you have people in Harrisburg strong enough to stand up and fight tooth and nail for you to get it done. And that's what I would do.
Okay, thank you. Representative, would you like me to repeat?
I wouldn't. With all due respect to my opponent, I came to this job with skills. I have a bachelor's degree in political science and a master's degree in communication. I've worked in a bipartisan way to expand health care for Pennsylvanians. I've worked in a bipartisan way to pass a $25 million agriculture bill, and I've worked in a bipartisan way to enact police reform. In terms of school funding, yes, if you don't have children in school, you should still pay school taxes, because when your children were in school, somebody paid school taxes for you. I do believe when you hit the age of 70, the maximum age in which you can collect the most amount of Social Security, you should no longer have to pay property taxes. We cannot continue to tax our senior citizens out of their home. We do one really wonderful thing in Pennsylvania. We don't tax retirement. So if we didn't tax seniors and property taxes, and when I say property taxes, that's really synonymous with school taxes, as that's the largest portion of your property taxes, then they would be able to live here happily, securely, and, enjoy their retirement. But yes, I believe everyone other than seniors should pay school taxes.
Okay, thank you, Representative. Okay, there's a question on here. Representative, we're going to start with you first. It talks about a train coming up to the Pocono Country Place area. Has there been any talk regarding whether this train come up this way, and do you or do you not support it, I guess?
Sure, I would absolutely support a train. But let me just tell you that a train is one of the biggest lies ever told by politicians in the 70s and 80s and realtors looking to sell property in the Poconos. People have been waiting for the train just about as long as they've been waiting for property tax elimination. And it's really sad because I have friends who have lived here all their lives, and they talk about how they would take the train from Stroudsburg up to Skytop, and then the van would come and get them. How they would take the train to go shopping in Scranton, or to see, to go to cultural centers in Scranton. East Stroudsburg University, which was initially built as East Stroudsburg Normal School, was built in that location because of its proximity to the train station. I am endlessly hopeful that the train will come. I know that Congressman Matt Cartwright has taken this on, and he is working on it nonstop with the Northeast Regional Railroad Association. So I am not holding my breath, but I am hopeful, and I would do anything that I can to help bring the train here, because certainly it would, as we get ready to work on Route 80, we are certainly going to need another mode of transportation.
Thank you, Representative. Ms. Ritter, again, the question has to do with bringing a train up towards the Pocono Country Place area. It says, has there been talk regarding whether the train will come up this way, and do you or do you not support that?
I do support it, but I came here because I saw an advertisement on the Daily News that the train was going to be completed in the Poconos in 2003. I moved up to the Poconos in July of 2001, and I've yet to see the train coming. I've seen a lot of plans and a lot of talk from politicians that they'll get it done, and it hasn't been done. And I'm one of those realtors that told people, if you're moving here because you think the train is coming, it's not. So I don't need to lie to people to sell homes. The reason I'm a very successful agent is because of my honesty, because I tell my people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And I will do the same as a state representative. I will tell you the truth. I will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And I wouldn't go on photo ops and on TV shows and say one thing and then go to Harrisburg and vote another way. So I'm a very straightforward person, and I'm a person that likes to get things done. And those are my most, how can I say? Those are one of my most valuable assets that I have, and that is to solve problems and to find solutions to situations that can be solved. Because many of the times what we get from our politicians are blame the other party. And it comes from both sides, it's a blame game. And I'm just tired of it. And I'm not a politician. I'm not running to be a politician. I'm running to be a public servant. And a public servant serves their people, not their party, not the people that they like or the people that like them. They serve everyone. And I'm looking to be your voice in Harrisburg. And that is what I have to bring to the table. Negotiation skills. This is a job interview. You have to have negotiation skills. You have to have communication skills. And you have to have some type of respect for your community and for your constituents.
That is time. Okie dokie. Thank you. All right. Let's move on to the next question I got here. Would you vote to, hold on. Oh, we did that one. My bad. It's this one. Do you support the legalization of marijuana? And would you use the revenue from those sales to help economically empower marginalized communities?
Is that for me, Jay?
Yes, Ms. Rodriguez.
I would have to do more research on the marijuana. I'm not against or for it yet. I have begun doing some research on the marijuana. I've learned that Israel was one of the first countries to legalize marijuana, and it can be very, very profitable. So that's not something that I can't say that I will not be for, because it's something that I'm still doing my research on. And I do believe I want as much funding that we can get for marginalized areas.
Okay, thank you, Representative.
Yes, I 100% support the legalization of adult recreational cannabis. It is already legal in about a half a dozen states, and medicinal cannabis is legal in, I believe, 36 states. And we have not seen this surge in drug addiction. In fact, the research shows that where adult recreational cannabis is legal, opioid abuse is down 25%. All of the research is in on cannabis. It's not a gateway drug. You can OD from cannabis. It doesn't cause, a matter of fact, it's used for just a myriad of medicinal reasons. And so the conservative estimate is that adult recreational cannabis will bring in, at the beginning, $265 million. But the less conservative estimate is it could be as much as 500 million. In Colorado, they're seeing $700 million a year in cannabis revenue. And not only do I support it because I believe people have the right, if you can drink alcohol, you should certainly be able to enjoy recreational cannabis in the privacy of your home. But there's the restorative justice piece as well. We have people languishing in prison who bought cannabis for their own personal use, who are still in prison when it is legal in so many states in the union. We have to let people out of jail. We have to expunge their records who have bought cannabis for their own personal use, and we have to let them get on with their lives. And absolutely all that money should be put into underprivileged communities for after-school programs, for drug rehabilitation programs. There are a myriad of uses that money can be used for.
Thank you very, very much. I'm just trying to review, make sure I got all these questions. Okay. Representative, this one will go to you first. Are you in favor of Obamacare? What is your plan to provide health care to all citizens of Pennsylvania?
Yes, I'm very much in favor of the Affordable Care Act. And when the Affordable Care Act was passed, Tom Corbett was our governor, a Republican governor, and we had the Republicans had control of the House and the Senate, and they opted not to set up a state exchange. They opted to do the federal marketplace. So we were shortchanged billions of dollars to set up our own exchange. And unfortunately, many people didn't get covered because of that. And the federal government, the House and the Senate, well, not the House any longer, but when the House and the Senate were controlled by Republicans in Washington, they did everything that they could to undermine the Affordable Care Act. I'm proud to say that I was part of the bipartisan legislature that enacted a state exchange. Now, for the first time starting October 1st, you are able to buy into the marketplace on a state exchange. I am not in favor of Medicare for all, but I am in favor of a single payer option. I am in favor of keeping the Affordable Care Act the way it is right now and expanding it, not getting rid of the pre-existing condition mandate, not getting rid of when you turn 26, you can stay on your parents' insurance until you're 26. The Affordable Care Act has put tens of millions of people in a place for the first time in their lives being covered with health insurance. We need to build on it and make it better. And thus far, Donald Trump and the Republicans have said they want to. Matter of fact, they're going to the Supreme Court to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, but they have not once come up with an effective plan to replace it. So there is nothing better than the Affordable Care Act right now, and we should invest in making it better and more accessible to millions more Americans.
Thank you, Representative. Ms. Ritter, would you like me to repeat? Are you in favor of Obamacare, and what is your plan to provide health care for all citizens in PA?
Well, I think that's a federal issue. As far as locally, the health care that everyone's got, it's kind of, okay, I'm covered, but my deductible is $10,000. Or, okay, I'm covered, but my deductible is $5,000. So is that good or bad? So you're covered, but you're not going to be able to use it unless it's above a certain amount of money. So we definitely need better healthcare and better use of our healthcare dollars to benefit the community. I feel that the healthcare system benefits a lot of the hospitals. For example, with the COVID, hospitals were giving a certain amount of money if they had so many COVID patients. It's just that whole system needs to be redone because it doesn't benefit the citizens. It benefits big pharmaceutical companies and hospitals.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ritter. Second. don't see any more questions. Let me see if I have any. Last chance to ask questions. Please type them down below in the question and answer. I'm going to check my list to double check to see if I have any more. Okay, I have one question here. Ms. Ritter, you're going to start this one. Do you support PA following DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals recipients, who are individuals who are brought to the U.S. without papers when they were children, access to state PHEAA grants to help pay for college, just as Texas, Washington, New Mexico, and California do?
Actually, this is an issue close to my heart as I'm an immigrant. I came from Honduras when I was 9 years old. I came here legally, but many in my community have come here illegally, and many have come when they were children. I do support DACA because a child that has been brought over the border when they're 2 years old, 3 years old, doesn't know their country, where they came from, doesn't even speak Spanish sometimes, and to be sent back to a country that they don't feel is their own, even though they were born there because they were raised here in the United States. Now, I am for it, but I'm for good citizens, good students, people of good record to be led on a path of citizenship. Those DACA kids don't want to be illegal. They're DACA, but they're still illegal. They want to be legal. And I think if they've proven to be good citizens and assets to their community, they should be granted citizenship. Now, the MS-13, the gang members, the rapists, the pedophilias, they need to go and they need to be deported as soon as possible, because you have to be realistic with these things. Not everyone that is in that situation should be accepted, because as an immigrant from Honduras, and I can tell you MS-13 has a grip on Honduras. Most of the people that have moved here from those countries or immigrant countries, we came fleeing from the MS-13 gangs. So we don't want them here either. We want good people, the hardworking people, the people that are going to love America, that are going to defend America, because we have nowhere else to go. This is it. And you will see that a lot of people do support the DACA kids, the good people to stay, but the people that have bad records, they need to go.
Fine. Thank you. Representative Madden, would you like me to repeat?
No. So I absolutely support the DACA program. And Dulce, I'd be happy to know that the empirical research shows that over 90% of DACA children who have grown up to be adults are either in school or are gainfully employed, and they represent a very small minority of people who break the law or who are part of gangs. I think it was probably one of the single best things that President Obama did when he signed an executive order allowing Dreamers to stay. I was very happy when the Supreme Court struck down Donald Trump's attempt to send them all back. And while we're on the subject of immigration, I think children being held in ICE detention centers is abhorrent. Matter of fact, I belong to an organization of people who visit and bring books and reading materials and different things to people who are being held, as far as I'm concerned, illegally in detention centers. We used to give them a hearing date when people came here illegally, and they overwhelmingly showed up. This putting people in camps is the brainchild of Stephen Miller and our president to discourage people from fleeing from poverty and drugs and gangs and being sold into slavery to prevent them from coming. And we are the country that stands on freedom. Give me your tired, give me your poor. And I'd like to see us have a little more humanity when it comes to the way we treat immigrants who are coming here under horrible, horrible circumstances for their little piece of the American dream, like my husband, Roy Ramos, has enjoyed and like Dulce Ritter has enjoyed.
Hey, thank
Okay,
you.
may I add to my to my
Yeah,
statement on
you'll have time
immigration?
at the end. Each one of you will have time at the end to
Okay.
discuss the platform a little bit more. We're going to move on to the last question, unless anybody posts anything in the Q&A. Last question I have. Representative Madden, you're going to start with this one. It goes along with what steps would you have? What steps would you take to reopen PA, or would you follow the governor's mandates? But also, I think what's important to go along with this is what protective measures would you implement to protect teachers, students, and frontline workers?
Well, before school started, we were seeing approximately 800 new cases of the coronavirus every day within the entire state of Pennsylvania. For the past 2 days, we've seen those numbers go up to 1,300. So I am in lockstep with the governor that we have to do everything we can do to protect the people of Pennsylvania, absent of a strong federal response. As we know, we have a president who has called it a hoax, who said not to be worried about it, and who has gotten the best medical care that anyone can possibly get, taxpayer-funded medical care, since he became infected and at his super spreader event and infected upwards of 30 people from one event. I don't want to be Florida. Florida opened up too quickly and it had to close down because they were reporting 10,000 cases per day. So I think we're going to, before this gets better, it's going to get worse. That's what Dr. Fauci and the medical experts are predicting. So I think we stay on course. What we do differently is we stop trying to usurp the governor's authority and we get to business in the legislature and we appropriate that $1 billion that's left in federal CARES money to our small businesses, to our people who are struggling to pay their mortgage, to our people who are struggling to pay their rent, for our people whose jobs have gone away because of COVID. There is $1 billion left. And why this legislature hasn't passed, this Republican-controlled legislature hasn't passed bills to appropriate that $1 billion to the people who need it most is beyond me. The only thing I can think of is that they're holding on to it, hoping to figure out a way to use it to balance the budget, but that's not what the money has been earmarked for. And to the President of the United States and the Republican Senate, Mitch McConnell, get off your ass, get back to Washington, and pass another federal stimulus bill because people in this state and people in this country are hurting. And if you think $1,200 in 6 months is going to get people, on the right side of the ledger and they're going to be able to survive, that money was gone by the time it got it to them. So there's a lot of work to do, but it starts with the Republican majority thinking about people, having a little empathy and thinking about the struggle that people are undertaking every single day.
Okay, thank you, Representative. Ms. Ritter, what steps would you take to reopen PA, or would you follow the governor, Governor Wolf? What protective measures would you implement or before implementing to protect teachers, students, and frontline workers?
Following Governor Wolf's program or advice is a death sentence to 70% of our businesses here. A death sentence. They will not reopen. What we need to do is we need to reopen safely. We have common sense. We can beat this virus. We can beat it. We can't do it. We can't be victims to it. Winter's coming. Our restaurants that are seating people outside, where are they going to seat them? The numbers that our governor is putting out benefits those big companies. It benefits the water parks. They're going to be allowed to have more people. But the mom and pop shop around the corner is going to have to close because they're not making the revenue. That 70% of our businesses will be out of business. That is crucial to our economy. Now, money that's there, okay, that we can receive for help, I'm all for that. But we can't rely on this temporary fix. If that business closed, it's not coming back. So we have to open our businesses so that they can survive the winter. And we can do it safely. If you can go to Walmart and you can you grab your groceries and you take them home. Those groceries have been touched by hundreds of people. But you come home and you wipe them down. Okay? You wipe them down so that because you don't want to get sick. We've been doing that. You, the citizens, you know what to do. You don't need a governor to tell you how to live your life or how to run your business or to kill your business. We can do it, and we can do it safely. And as far as our children need to go back to school. Our children are a very low risk of this virus. It's our elderly that we need to take care of. We need to come up with a plan where our people that are vulnerable are protected, but the healthy people that can work, they can go out to work and they can make businesses run. Okay, our children that are stuck at home that can't play sports, you are causing the governor's executive order is causing major damage, mental health damage to these children that they're going to have to deal with for years to come. As far as our teachers are suffering because now their load is double the work they have to do, the teachers. The parents, double the work. They're working from home and they have to teach their children. We have to go back to common sense and we have to learn how to live with this virus, and we can do it. We can do it safely. We've proven it.
It's time. Thank you, Ms. Ritter. Okay, we're going to go final. No more questions. I'm going to give each Representative Madden and candidate running for the position, Ms. Ritter, I'm going to give you both 5 minutes to speak on your platform. Representative Madden, you have the floor when you're ready.
I'm going to set my timer so that I can monitor myself. Just give me 1 second.
Let me know when you push start.
I already pushed it. Oh, wait, so that wasn't the timer. That was actually laps. Stopwatch. Okay. Stopwatch. Okay. Reset. All right. Hitting start.
Go.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you for hosting this. And thank you for all my friends and neighbors who have logged on to listen to this, this forum. My husband, Roy, and I have been proud homeowners in a Pocono Country Place for over 15 years. When I moved to a Pocono Country Place, one of the first things I noticed was that there weren't a lot of resources up here in Coolbaugh Township for folks. If you had to go to WIC, you had to go to Mount Pocono. If you wanted to go to a pantry, you had to go to Stroudsburg. If you wanted to get in touch with Habitat for Humanity, you had to go to Stroudsburg. So what I endeavored to do from the day I got elected and moved into my office into the Mountain Center up here was to bring more resources to Coolbaugh Township. One of the first things I did was work with Ann Shakovich, the director of the Pocono Mountain Library and Monroe County Transit Authority, and our partners in the Mountain Center. And I brought bus service from Mount Pocono to the Mountain Center. Teachers and paraprofessionals and parents who children attended Head Start at the Mountain Center, they would get dropped off in Mount Pocono and they would have to find the other 2 or 3 miles up to the Mountain Center on their own. They were taking Ubers. Some of them were hitchhiking. Some of them were calling a friend and asking for a ride. So within my first couple of months in office, I was able to get that done. I've brought over $20 million home to this district for very important projects, $500,000 to the Monroe Career and Technical Institute. Before that $500,000 grant they were able to get, the kids who were learning in the welding department were learning on equipment that was in excess of 40 years old. And when they got out of the program, they had to go and get certified somewhere else because the equipment they learned on did not even meet the standards that we use in Pennsylvania. Just this past year, I was able to secure over $300,000 for St. Luke's to put a medical office in the Mountain Center, where a pediatrician will donate her time 2 days a week to see patients. So parents who have children that go to Head Start in the Mountain Center can now bring their child to the pediatrician in the Mountain Center. Seniors can now, get together and meet in the Mountain Center after COVID is over, because we have a number of senior groups in there. One of the other things I did was bring over $100,000 to Coolbaugh for the Coolbaugh Township Fire Department. They're putting an emergency shelter that if we were to lose power, which we do from time to time on the mountain, people will have a place to go to be able to charge their devices, to be able to get warmed up. And firefighters who volunteer their time will now be able to come back from a fire, will be able to shower, will be able to sit and talk and relax after a fire and not have to go home smelling of smoke. These are just a couple of examples of the work that I have done. I have worked in a bipartisan way, as I mentioned, to pass important police reform, to pass expansion of medical coverage, to pass the historic $25 million farm bill. I am proud to be endorsed by over 10 unions. And I can tell you from the education unions that I'm endorsed by, teachers go to work every day in fear of their life. Our children may not get the virus as quickly or as often as adults do, but they certainly are spreaders. So we have to continue the course of being vigilant and containing this virus. And we're hoping that a cure is, a vaccine is 6 months to 8 months away. And then within another year, we'll have overall access for everybody to be able to get a vaccination. I eagerly anticipate that. But in the meantime, we have to do what we can. And $1 billion is a lot of money and will go a long way. There's no such thing as herd immunity. We're finding that antibodies only last a few months. And we are also learning that you can get the coronavirus yet again after you've had it once. And you can get tested repeatedly and test negative, and then maybe on the 4th or 5th time. So we know so little about this. And if you get coronavirus, you already have a pre-existing condition. So we have to be really careful. And let me just say in conclusion, it has been absolutely my honor to serve you for the past 4 years. I look forward to serving you again if you elect me for a 3rd term, and continuing the important work that we have done together. Thank you, and please vote on November 3rd, whether by mail or in person. Just get out and vote. This really is the most crucial election of our time.
Thank you, Representative. Okay, Ms. Ritter, it's your turn. 5 minutes. Are you ready?
Yes.
Go.
Well, I decided to run because I believe that I can be your voice in Harrisburg. As you, I'm just a regular citizen, and I grew tired of the same old, oh, we can't do this, we can't do that. We're going to blame this and that on why we can't do it. So I would like to get in there and find out why things are not getting done. The various life experiences that I've had, I know that led me to this place right now, and that is to become your state representative. As a teen mom, I had many challenges. I know what young families face. I was on welfare. I came out of welfare because of a welfare to work program, which was excellent. It was from a Wildcat in New York. I'm a 9/11 survivor, and I see the suffering in our communities by our families, by our businesses, and I don't see the passion for you, the people, for your issues be brought to Harrisburg. I see a lot of passion on on our president, a lot of focus on what our president does, a lot of focus on what the Republicans do, and not enough focus on what we need to be doing right now, this minute for you. And that's what I am going to be focused when I'm in Harrisburg. I am going to be laser focused on you, our community. My door is always going to be open. I will always answer the phone. It may not be the same day, but I will get back to you. And you will never be afraid to come to my office and tell me what you think, even if it's something that I don't like, because I will never be offended. I will never be disrespectful to you. And I will work hard for you as your agent, just like I do with my clients. I represent them and their best interests. Always, you will be number one. That's what I'm going to Harrisburg for. I do very well in my business, thank God. But I feel that this is God's work, that God is calling me to do this. And I think that He will guide me to make great decisions and bring great prosperity to our community.
Okay. Thank you very much. This time, I would like to thank both State Representative Maureen Madden and candidate Dulce Ritter. Much appreciated. Thanks for bearing with us with Zoom as well. We know it's a different time and all that stuff, and we're doing our best to bring everything we can to you. We have taped this, so we will share it on the official A Pocono Country Place Facebook, the one with the burgundy sign. And thank you again, State Representative, and thank you again, Dulce. And thank you for all the attendees that came out. We much appreciate it, and good luck coming up. And like Representative said, get out and vote. It's important.
Thank you. Yes, vote.
Thank you, Jason. Have a great evening,
Good night.
everyone.
Thank you.
We'll have a good night. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you to all the attendees as well.
Thank you.